Welcome everyone. Today we'll have another gold making guide, and this one, as you can see in the notes behind me, there is a chain quest that give us a lot of gold. And basically you can see over here, this is the chain guardian quest, and you can see the amount of gold that tallies up from tier 1, tier 2 up to tier 3 guardians. And let me just show you guys a quick replay. So basically this particular replay is within 3 minutes I was able to get 1 to 200 gold. So each of the guardians that you kill this way will give you a few hundred gold. And this is really fast because your tier 3 account can go back and clear those guardians very quickly. So within about 3 minutes I was able to get the gold. And let me just show you guys. So it took me 1 minute to kill the guardian. It took a while to sail to the place, but if you bid force correctly, which I'll show you guys very soon, you can make a lot of gold very quickly. I'll estimate it close to 4,500 if you complete the tier 3 guardians as well. So you can see within about a minute killing the guardian, I made about 100 gold. So the first part of the video, we'll look at this chain quest and how to clear this efficiently, where should you bid force, and how to do this properly. I'll give you some tips on clearing, and also I'll give you some keys on the map locations that you need to travel. And this is going to be very useful because you might want to bid force those to save a lot of time traveling, or to plan ahead how you're going to travel and how you make the gold this way. Now on the second part of this video, I'll also share you guys with some additional tips and also guides from the community about how to survive the stage of the tier 3 of the cube trials, which is quite hard, and also some nice features about the rate up success structures in the stronghold, and also some fun posts about making a lot of gold and also losing a lot of gold again, which is going to be pretty interesting. So this will be on the second part of the video. Now coming over to the first part of the video, the notes and also the links of the guides will be available in the description below, so make sure you guys check those out. So what is happening is, this is actually came as a coincidence. So one of our viewers actually told me that there is a quest that you can start by doing the raid boss, and after you do the raid boss, this quest will give you 5 great honor lipstones. I was like, hey, I'm getting 4 with my other task, why don't I do this? So I did this. This one wanted me to go to Force Heaven and kill Virtuous. After killing Virtuous, you get this quest. But somehow this quest only lets me to do 3 times a day with my Eunice quest, and then this one disappears into a different quest. So after seeing this, I decided to search a lot onto Reddit and also YouTube and everywhere. So I found this post over here from Quizen over here because I was doing the raid boss. So I was like, hey, that raid boss, what happened to my quest? So over here he talked about the Foggy Ridge, and after looking into this, oh boy, he was right. So you make about 4,000 to 5,000 gold in total if you haven't completed the whole chain of quests. Now some of us might have completed some of them, so what I'll do is I'll teach you guys how to go back to the chain, how to check which part of the chain quest you are in, and how to make a lot of gold this way. Because there's a lot of maps that you have to travel to, and unless you travel to those maps, you won't be able to go back to the chain of the quest. So it's very important to follow the guides over here on MaxRoadGG, and I'll give you guys the step-by-step process. So what this hidden chain quest is about is, this quest first starts with Vern's Castle, which allows you to go to Runner's Village. After that, what's going to happen is, so this is the starting quest of the investigation. I'm sure most of us have done this before, and most of us have completed the killing of the raid boss in the Foggy Ridge. After Foggy Ridge, what's going to happen is, the level 1 raid guardian actually starts after Force Heaven. So this is why I went to do my Eunice daily. You can also get the bonus lipstones by doing this. So I'll share you guys this link as well for the bonus 5 lipstones this way with a daily. This only lasts for about 3 days though, I think. And once you start at the Force Heaven, you'll be asked to investigate, and after investigation, you'll be asked to kill each of the raid guardians. And by killing each of the raid guardians, it starts with 50, 10 gold, then it goes into 100 gold, then it goes into 200 gold to 150 gold, and then it goes into 250 gold. So you can see the gold for killing each guardian actually goes up. Even, investigations, even searches for the guardians actually goes up by a lot. And this is how we can get about 4,000 to 5,000 gold by doing this. And if you do this correctly, I think within 3 hours, you can kill most of the guardians and get a ton of gold. Now over here, I do have some recommendations to bid force in some of the locations. So one of the suggestions is to bid force with Foggy Ridge, because you will be coming back to this island a lot. The second one will be Force Haven, because this is one of the further islands and it takes a while to sail there. And the last one, okay, I actually had Force Heaven twice. So over here you can see the number of locations that I recommend to bid force. So those are the 4 locations. Yeah, I actually had Force Heaven here twice. So without having Force Heaven, those are the other 3 locations that can be recommended to Bitforce. I'll explain why very soon as well. And the bigger reason for doing this is this will save a lot of time. So it's estimated that if you travel around, it might take about 2 to 3 hours to do all the Guardians. But if you Bitforce and travel correctly, it might take you a lot less time. And by killing the Guardians without collecting the Guardian Souls, we can make about 4,000 to 5,000 gold. This is going to be very wonderful. And let's come over to some of the tips of clearing. So the first thing you want to do with this particular chain quest is you want to know which stage of the quest you're currently in. Some of us, or maybe most of us, would have finished the one from Vern's Castle with Foggy Ridge. If you haven't, the quest will start with Vern's Castle. You ask you to go to Reynard's Village. And most of us would have finished the Foggy Ridge. So what I recommend is you can search for the name of the quest. What I started to search is I started to search for the one before Force Heaven. So I started to search for this one. And also what you can do is you can also search for the raid characters. So over here I have written some suggestions. So come over to your game, press Alt J to open up your dialog for quest, go to the complete session, search for the ones over here. Oh, I don't think this one actually opened up. So basically what I did was I actually searched for the title over here, and I'll show you guys over here. So let's have a look. So this one actually opens up. So each time you have completed those tasks, this one's open up, and this will show you which one to the latest task you want to follow up with. Now for me, at the time, I finished the one with Force Heaven, so I was up to Virtuous. And later on, just as I was testing, I actually did a lot of them. So this actually happens pretty fast. So each time you want to search up to see which one you're up to. Now if you haven't been to those locations, you'll know that you haven't done it, right? So usually I think most of us, if you haven't done this chain quest, you probably start with Force Heaven. And by traveling over there, there's an NPC that will give you the purple quest. Basically, you investigate and then you go kill the Guardians, and this repeats. Now over here, I do have some tips to share with you guys as you clear through them. So the first one is, if you're rushing through all of those quests and you don't have enough Bitforce and you don't have enough cooldowns, sailing is the best option. And by my estimation, if you just sail around, this will take you about 2 to 3 hours to clear up to about 3 to 4,000 gold. And this is really good, right? And also be aware to use the Song of Return. I do think the best place for Song of Return still at the moment is going to be Vern's Castle, because it's the center of everything and you can sell by using this. Now one recommendation I do have is that we can still use our tier 1 and also tier 2 accounts to use some of the Bitforce, because some of the initial Guardians, they're actually tier 1 or tier 2. You can clear those on your alt, but also you can do this solo with your own Guardians as well. So what I mean by that is you can do this solo with your tier 3 account. By doing this solo, you actually have a reduced difficulty with the boss, and usually it takes quite quickly. So simply because, you know, those are tier 1 and also tier 2 Guardians, and by clearing those yourself, it's much easier. And, you know, it took, let me show you guys the timing over here. So clearing this tier 2 turtle boss, I think it took me about 1 minute. Yeah, it took me about 1 minute and 8 seconds for clearing this. So this is quite fast when you come to clear the boss. The longer time spent is actually running around, picking up stuff for the quest, and also basically sailing everywhere as you go. Now one thing I do really want to strongly recommend is make sure you do not collect the Guardian Souls on tier 1 or tier 2 if you're already tier 3, right? So what I recommend is try to do this chain quest after your 2 daily Guardian entries to avoid having to unclick the collecting Guardian Souls, because you might accidentally collect it and you don't want to waste your entries for the Guardians. Now over here I have made some map guides for you guys. So there are 5 locations that we have to travel to. I believe the last location is not out yet. It's waiting for the next expansion for the 6 Guardian slots. So we currently have 5 Guardian slots. So what I mean by that is, so if I come over to Guardians, you can see that we have 5 category of Guardians. So the 6th category of Guardians is not available yet. So you can see this is up to level 5. We're still waiting for Guardian 6. So we don't have the last zone. Now for the first 4 zones plus Foggy Ridge, so what you're looking at is, you're looking at 5 locations to travel to. So those are the 5 locations. And what I recommend is, you can see that here Force Heaven is the one that is traveled to most. So you might want to Bitforce with Force Heaven. But after Force Heaven, notice that on the level 2 Guardians, it changes into Woeful Dryland, and this is one of the islands. And then it changes into Scarred Crescent Land. And over here I have had, you know, notes over here where those islands are next to, so you can search for the island name. I'll give you guys an example. Let's say if you want to come over to this island, what you do is you come over to your map, you search, you type in this name, you will pop up over here. Notice that this is the island you want to go to start the next chain quest. So over here I have some clues and also hints where the locations of those islands is. there are 4 islands plus Foggy Ridge, and there is also a zone with Red Sand Desert. So what I want to show you guys over here is, so if you come over to editing, so Red Sand Desert is not a map we usually travel to. How you get there is you come over to Razor Falls and you travel by the teleportation, you come over to this point, and that's how you travel there. So that's why I recommend having some Bitforce ready. Now, my recommendation of having Bitforce is that look at the next few chain quests. If the next few chain quests ask you to repeatedly coming back to one location, then it's good to Bitforce. But if the next few chain quests is only asking you to go there once, then you don't have to Bitforce unless you plan to come back very quickly. Now, the easiest way to do this is, of course, having 5 Bitforce ready. So I'll show you guys the Bitforce over here. So I only have 2 of those set into Foggy Ridge and Woeful Drylands because I'm doing those currently. I still have my dailies available for the freeing of the slaves and also the other dailies with Hippo's Eye, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to indicate that if you are going into a certain place, you might want to plan ahead. And some places like the Force Heaven, if you haven't saved your locations over there, you can use the Bitforce or the Song of Return to get to Vern's Castle to have a quicker traveling time. But overall, I do think it will take you 2 to 3 hours if you follow this particular pathway, Bitforce correctly, and just sail around. It will take you about 2 to 3 hours to clear most of the content to get most of the gold over here. So you probably get 3,000 to 4,000, but in total, with clearing all of those Guardians, I believe we get about 5,000 gold by doing this. And that's a chunk of gold, right? So really lovely to be able to find this one coming from this quest. And also a big thank you for Kristen over here for sharing this one. Now, coming over to a second part of the video, as I was looking for guides and also tips, I also come across a lot of useful guides from the community, so I do want to share some of those. This one is from Jay over here, and basically this is about the cube trial. Now, as you guys know, the cube trial can be very difficult, and what I do recommend is you can follow the tips over here about the patterns of the cube trial, and instead of remembering all of them, what I do recommend is you can use the trick over here like hiding in the corner and moving back. But what I do recommend is understand the pattern. Notice how the pattern changes left to right, and also the circle and rotation of the pattern. You don't have to exactly follow this one, but once you understand the pattern of the cube trials, this gets better. And there's a number of types of the cube trials you should be aware of if you're planning to do your cubes to get the most reward out of this. So definitely check this out with some of the tips and also tricks with this one. And it's pretty lovely to see how it works and to see how there is a lot of method to skip and also to dodge in certain locations. Now the next guide we have over here is from Airflow over here. I can't pronounce names, my apologize. So basically what he's saying is there's stronghold structures that gives a greater success for explorations, for other craftings, and I do believe this is for exploration of the sailing ships, right? So those are the list of the table of items over here, and if you guys want, you can have a look at the links over here to show you those items. So this is more for stronghold. I haven't looked into stronghold that much, so I can't give you guys a much more detail. But if you guys are looking for chance of greater success for stronghold, those are the type of lists over here that can be very useful. Now coming over to some of the fun posts and also painful posts of the day. So basically this is from Bobby, and again someone clicked too many zeros. You can see what happens, right? So someone was bidding this one for 7,500. They clicked one extra zero and everyone got 2,500 gold. Sometimes we don't even make that much in a day, right? So basically don't be hasty yet. Be careful with your chaos bid. I'm actually scared to bid chaos now after seeing those posts. So this one's pretty painful, but everyone got lucky, right? Except the person that actually bid a lot. So which is really painful. Now over to one lovely post. So MJ over here actually shows us that I actually haven't got a giant golden bar before. I always wanted to get one, and this is what the golden bar looks like. Now if you guys are not sure what those are, so those are the exchanges of the coins from the Eunice Daily with NPCs in the game, and I think about 500 of those gives you a box. I usually never get the golden ones. I get a purple one usually, but if you do get a golden one, this gives 10,000 gold. And this is amazing, right? So I thought I'd end the day with a lucky post to show you a lot of gold can be earned this way as well. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, make sure you do so, because we'll be getting a lot of guides, a lot of tips as I discover them, and I love the game. So I want to share as much as I can with you guys, and let's have a great time in Lost Ark as we explore this game and get the most out of it.